Welcome to the Pretty Confident Podcast, where we embrace authenticity, own our worth, and build unshakable confidence. I'm your host, Sierra Renee. So let's dive in. Hello, you guys. How are you, my beautiful, beautiful pod squad? If you are a returning listener or an OG to this podcast, thank you so much for being here. Even if this is your first podcast episode that you're listening to ever on my platform, thank you so much for being here and giving me a chance. And I hope that this episode makes you a returning listener. Like, please come back and hear what we have to talk about every week. So, you guys know we are wrapping up June. Today is June 30th, and it is the last day of the month. But not only that, it is the last Monday of the month. And you know what we do on the last Monday of every month? We talk about things that we have accomplished in that current month and things we want to set our sights on accomplishing in the month to come. So, you guys, I hope you have wrote down what you've accomplished, because you guys know when we write down things we accomplish, it makes it easier for us to be more confident in accomplishing the next thing. Whatever we set our mind to next, we know that these things are the things we've already accomplished. What is this thing to me now? Right? Like, it's just a step forward. I'm more likely to achieve this next step because look at all the other things that I've accomplished. And I want you to continue to have that mindset, because majority of the time when we don't have confidence in ourselves, when we are second guessing things that we know we are able to do and it shouldn't be a second thought, it is because we are forgetting the things that we have already accomplished and how far we've come and how hard it took us to overcome anything that prevented us from getting here sooner. So I want you to continue to write down things that you've accomplished. I know we didn't talk about things that we accomplished in May, just because I was on an 8-day cruise, got engaged. Like, a lot of things happened at the end of May, and so we are going to go ahead and talk about everything from January 2025 to June 2025, because if you all have been here, you know that I created a bingo board for my 2025 year. I don't know what you created, whether it was a bingo board, vision board, prayer board, whatever the case may be. We need to have our sights set on something that we want to accomplish, so that way we know and we can come back to, if we need to, regain our focus. We need to be able to go back to the drawing board and say, what is it that I want to accomplish? Are the things that I'm doing helping me get there, or are they taking me in a different direction? Because a lot of the times we can set our sights on something, but as we are going through the motions, as we are going through life, as we are going through certain courses and seasons in our life, what we wanted to begin with may not be what we want once we, undergo certain life experiences. Or we may think that we want something and it could be completely different from what we truly want. And so this is why we need to write things down. This is why we need to have these bingo boards, prayer boards, vision boards, so that we can visualize, or we can have a visualization of what we want our life to look like. And then as we're going through the steps, this is what's going to help you formulate, is this truly what I want, or is this just a fixation on what I thought I wanted, if this is what it really looks like to me? Because everybody's journey is going to be different. Everybody's life outcome is going to be unique on how they want their lives to look. So our journey is going to be unique to who we are and what we truly want in life. Okay, so majority of the time, the proof is in the pudding. Yes, you may want this, but your heart, your desires actually want something else that may have mimicked something but looks completely different. Okay, so I want to, like I said, talk about everything that I've accomplished in 2025 period, not just in June, because there are a lot of things that I've kind of relapsed in based on what I put on my bingo board, and then there's other things that I took off my bingo board and revised because my vision changed a little bit. So we're going to go through my bingo board one by one. I believe I have 20 spaces on my bingo board, or 20 squares. And so these are the things that I want to accomplish by the end of 2025, I don't want to just connect 5 in a row and then be like, oh, I'm done. No, everything that I put on my bingo board are things that I want to accomplish. So I want to, at the end of 2025, be able to cross off every single thing on my bingo board. And I want you to be able to cross off every single thing on your bingo board. If you created a bingo board, I want you to be able to, have the testimonies off everything that you have on your prayer board, or I want your life to look like whatever you put on your vision board by the end of 2025. That is the goal. We don't want to be unrealistic with our goals. Sometimes it does, it does carry out to be unrealistic to just show you how much more growth that you may need to overcome. But I said, we don't want to be vague. I say this in a lot of my previous episodes. If we are being vague, we don't know the first steps to take to get to our end goal. So once you figure out that vague goal that you want, break it down into smaller manageable steps, because if you're looking at that vague goal and don't break it down, at the end of the year, at the end of the month, whatever the case may be, whenever you're setting your time frame to achieve your goal, if it's too vague and you don't accomplish it by the end of that month or by the end of that year, you are going to be discouraged. So the reason that we want to break down those vague goals is so that we can take it step by step to achieve those goals, to help us reach that broad goal that we are looking to achieve. So that way we are putting fuel in our tank by looking at, okay, I've accomplished this. This is helping me get to that next step, and giving you more confidence and motivation to continue going, rather than stopping you in your tracks and saying, this is just too vague. I'm not able to do it since I wasn't able to do it in a month or a year. So I'm just going to give up. We do not want that. We want to figure out ways that we can self motivate ourselves, as well as build that confidence and determination to reach those goals that we have for ourselves. Okay, so last week we talked about how to identify jealousy in friendships, or how jealousy shows up in friendships. And I think it's so coincidental that I talked about that last week. And there are a lot of things going on in B. Simone's life, where her podcast kind of blew up this past week, because a lot of people are saying different things. They're taking what she said on her last podcast with one of her friends, and it's showing us jealousy, it's showing us envy, all these other things. And so it's crazy that I put that episode out last week. And well, not last. Well, yeah, I guess last week. Yeah. Last week, episode 71, and this is just it's in the media and being talked about. So I definitely am going to give my take on it in the next episode. So the first episode of July, episode 73. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm going to share my take on it, what I think about it, and how I perceive her podcast and what she talked about, because I am somebody that listens to her podcast I'll probably listen to it every Tuesday or Wednesday. I know her episodes come out every Monday, but I typically always wait to listen to them while I'm driving into work. So I am going to give my take on it, what I think about it, what I may or may not have felt like was being transpired in that moment. So definitely stay tuned for that. But I did release that episode last week, like I said, episode 71. So if you want to listen to it, definitely go tell me how you think about it or what you feel about it. And then, we'll talk more about B. Simone's episode on what she said and how she said it, and the whole interaction between her and her friend on her podcast. Now, I don't look at the visual podcast on her YouTube. I just listen to it on Spotify. So I may have perceived it differently than other people that actually watched it, but I do still have a take on it myself. So I'll bring some notes if you guys want to go listen to it, and bring some notes as well, and then drop it in my comment section before, or DM me before I release next week's episode. Definitely let me know, because it's definitely something that needs to be talked about. So like I said, today is the last day of June. Drop in the comment section happy birthday to my mom, because today is her birthday. Oh, we love that crazy lady to death. But we're going to go ahead and jump into today's episode. Like I said, we are going to discuss my entire 2025 bingo board. Like I said, there are some things that I revised. I think I revised like 3 or 4 squares on here. So, yeah, we're just going to go over the whole thing and discuss what I've accomplished so far in 2025. So, first square, pay off credit card. I did pay off two of my credit cards this year, but I did have to run them back up a little bit. And I will tell you why as we go through this bingo board. But yeah, I'm going to leave that not crossed out just because I need to pay it off again. And that is something that I'm going to do again before the end of the year. That is going to be my goal. So we're going to leave that right there. We're not going to cross it off. Upload more tutorials. I have been doing more tutorials on um, TikTok, and I'm going to give myself a pat on the back because I stepped outside of my comfort zone and I've started a new Instagram and a new YouTube channel. Okay, so I have TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram where I'm posting my content across all three. Now, I was only posting on TikTok because it feels like a safe space there. Like, it's not judgmental. Like, yes, people here there leave remarks, or people can be ugly anywhere, but as far as community and lack of judgment, that is definitely one of the best platforms to start. But I just got too comfortable on TikTok, and I was like, oh, this is the only place I'm going to upload. But in the interim, if something happened to TikTok and TikTok was banned permanently, because there was a little play on banning it and whatnot, they brought it back less than 24 hours later, earlier this year. Am I going to have somewhere to tell my followers to go follow me instead? Am I going to have another platform where I can monetize if TikTok is completely gone? Right? The answer was no. And so I had to step outside my comfort zone and be like, oh, Instagram is a little bit too hostile, too picture perfect. And then YouTube, like, I barely use YouTube. So why would I want to be on something that I barely use myself? Right? So for those reasons, I was just on TikTok only. But like I said, if TikTok was to go away today, do I have anywhere else where I am constantly posting content and followers can find me somewhere else if TikTok went away? No. But now the answer is yes, because I've established my pages on Instagram and TikTok. My Instagram is a little bit newer, but my handle on everything is it's Sierra Renee. So it's Sierra Renee. So if I were to go anywhere, like TikTok was to go anywhere, people can find me there if they remember my username. I know it's very hard to remember people's username because you're just so used to seeing them pop up. But in the interim, like, if they were to, come across my channel or just one post, they'll be able to be like, oh, okay, I remember this username. I used to follow her on TikTok. I'm glad I found her. Easy subscribe or follow. So I'm gonna cross off upload more tutorials, because like I said, I did do a lot more tutorials on TikTok, but I also not only uploaded it on TikTok, I've uploaded it on YouTube and Instagram. So this square right here is a newer square. This one is enroll in school. I think I told you all a week or two ago that I do want to go back to school, but not for my master's degree in business. I want to go back for digital marketing with a concentration in communication so that I can branch off into like the social media aspect of business. So I can get like into marketing and all of the things like that. That is what I am passionate, or finding myself to be more passionate about now. And I wasn't really passionate about business. It was just a degree that would secure me any type of job if all things failed. But I really wanted to go to school for physical therapy. And my parents were like, well, my mom specifically, my dad really never, said anything, but my mom was like, you're going to school for something that we're paying for. If you go to school for anything but business, you're going to have to pay for it. Well, long story short, I'm paying for my business degree that I already have. So if I had to choose, like, if I knew I was gonna have to pay for my own degree anyway, I would have went for what I wanted to in the beginning. So it is what it is. But now I'm switching gears. I want to go into marketing. So that is a goal that, of course, or that is a square, of course, that I'm gonna leave uncrossed off. I'm gonna leave blank for now, because that is something that I'm currently working towards. And I've already taken the first step to reaching out to some advisors to see what credits would potentially qualify or transfer over to this degree, and then going from there to figure out what credits or what all classes I need to take, and when I'm gonna start. So obviously, I'll keep you guys updated on that goal and that journey. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that that is a new one. This next one is a new one as well. Pay student loans current, because you guys, them student loans hit my credit score so crazy. I wanted to drop dead. Like I said, my mom stopped paying on my student loans. It became several months, if not a couple years past due, and it started to report to the credit bureau. Whatever the heck Trump did caused my student loans to start reporting, and it dropped my credit score 150 points. When I paid off all of my credit cards, y'all, I had worked so hard to pay off my credit cards. But, oh my goodness, but once, let me see, no, before the student loans hit my credit report or credit bureaus, my score was at a 750 even, 749 or 750 even. And I was so freaking happy because it's been a while since I've been at a 700. But as soon as the student loans reported, do y'all know that stuff dropped my score 150 something points? Y'all, I was crying because my score was in the 500s. It's never been that low. It's never been that low. So I had to figure out, how am I going to get this stuff current? So that is why I had to, take some funds off of my cards. I had to do some cash advances, because it was really hurting my score, and my fiance got into a wreck right before we went on vacation, and it was a whole ordeal. Like, it ended up being like, oh well, the student loans have to be brought current. This has to be, paid. All of the things, and I'm so glad that I had it in my mindset. Like, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and bring my stuff up current. And this was before I even knew that in order to get the loan, like, they had to be brought current. I was just doing this because it was something that was bothering me, and I didn't want it to hurt my score anymore. So my cards were paid, completely off. And so that's how I was able to get the cash advances. And thinking back, if I did not pay my cards off and I was not serious and committed to paying my cards off, I probably would not have been able to get any cash advances or anything to bring this stuff current. So everything else would have probably crumbled, would have definitely crumbled apart, because if you're not taking your finances and your credit score seriously, it can affect your probability of getting approved on loans of the sort, anything else. So I'm still in an age where I rely on my credit score because there are things that I want to get approved for, and making sure that my credit report is as cleaned up and seamless as possible is definitely something that is important to me. I don't agree with the credit score system because I brought my stuff up current and my score only went up, 40 something points. But I'm just like, ugh, I really need my credit score as a young adult, because it's going to prevent me from getting approved from things and loans that I need in the future. So taking that very seriously, okay? So I'm crossing that off because my student loans are current. The next payment was June 24th, and I have it on auto pay now. So hopefully I can get this paid off as soon as possible. Like, when and if I pay off my other credit cards, I am going to be trying to pay those student loans down as soon as possible, right with my car loan. I need all of that cleaned up. Okay, next is save $2,500. I have not done that yet. I did complete the next square, which is liquid diet for 2 weeks. I did complete that. And now I am kind of dieting again, but instead of doing a liquid diet or only eating specific foods, I'm trying to stay in a calorie deficit, and I am fasting a little bit, intermittent fasting. My twin says that I should do the intermittent fasting. So not eating until 12 o'clock, not eating past 12 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So I'm trying to do that. I have been doing good so far, but like y'all know, I am a fiance. I'm trying to get ready for my wedding day. So getting this body in shape is one of those things. In addition to, this calorie deficit and intermittent fasting, I am going to the gym. I've been going for the past 2 weeks, 5 days a week. I think it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. but I may change. It just depends. I just want to make it to the gym at least 5 days a week, and I've been on and off running, like walking, running, for 30 minutes. Now in July, I do want to up that to about 45 minutes and make my way to an hour. Um, just because I think that'll be something that will help me. I just feel like for me right now, strength training is not the best because I feel like I'm already toned and solid. It's losing the fat now. And strength training builds muscle, which adds density. So I want to drop in fat for sure. But if I'm a lean 190 instead of fat and muscle ratio, fat ratio is kind of higher to the muscle ratio. I would definitely want to be more lean. I don't want to be a unhealthy 190. I want to be a lean and solid 190. So hopefully that makes sense. The next square, save 5K. I mean, obviously, I just told y'all I didn't save 2,500, so I haven't saved 5K yet. Pay off one credit card. Again, I do need to pay my credit cards off again, so I'm going to leave that unmarked. Start a YouTube channel. This is one of the biggest ones that I said that was a goal for me this year because, like I said, I was not branching out of my comfort zone with posting on TikTok. So now I do have 3 YouTube channels, one for my content creation page. Obviously, it's Sierra Renee. I have another one for audio only. I have another one for audio only for the podcast. So, the Pretty Confident Podcast, this one. And then I have a third one, Digital Designs by C, where I post digital design content because I do post all of my content in one place on TikTok. But on YouTube, I was like, well, if people want to follow me for digital design content, I want them to follow me just for that and not getting something that they're not following me for, which is, personal life content stuff. So I separated those two just in case, I wanted a designated audience, or I wanted my YouTube to reach a designated audience. So that's why I have 3 different YouTubes. Um, Start spiritual journey. I need to buy myself a Bible. I really need to buy myself a Bible and start that spiritual journey because I feel like once you once you, obviously I believe in Christ, I believe in God and Jesus, but I feel like once you live your life through Christ, that's when you start seeing and looking through a different lens and getting closer with God. So as I build my relationship with God, I feel like that's when you're anointed, you start, to get a different output on things. And I feel like in a way your life becomes more peaceful. My life has been very hectic, and I want to be able to turn to God not only when my life is hectic, but when things are going well also. So it's one thing to always need God for something. It's a different thing to always seek God for everything. And that's what I want my relationship with him to be. So right now I haven't been too deep into it just because my life has been so hectic. Yes, I've prayed to him and everything. I've asked him to release me from whatever spirit or um, season this is of destruction or chaos, or if he is, kind of breaking me down to build me up, um, just to release me from it and bring me out through the other end stronger. And he has done that, and I do appreciate him and thank him for that. So, in the next few months, I will be buying myself a Bible so I can start that spiritual journey. It's never too late. The next square is buy new bar stools. So, my OGs or returning listeners know that back in April, the very beginning of April, I had to move prematurely. So, things were, it was very hectic. But in order for me to be happy with where I was, where I am, a big thing for me is making sure my apartment feels like a home and renovating my space to make me feel more at peace, more at home, more just this place just feeling more personalized to me was making sure I was able to put a little splash of what I wanted in my apartment. And new bar stools was definitely on that list because I had some kind of ranky dank bar stools. And so I was able to buy new bar stools. They're very luxury looking, very cutesy. So I am very proud about that. And so I am going to obviously cross that off the list. Next is create a planner. I have not created a planner, y'all. So definitely need to start looking into that because I completely forgot about that as far as like my digital design stuff. The next square is a free space, so I'm just going to cross that off. The next square is start digital designing, and obviously I've done that. I've created flyers, I've created a calendar, I've created what else? Business cards, QRC codes, like anything. I have done it this year for sure. And in the next couple months, I'll be creating my own uh, wedding invitations and save the dates. So I have been doing a lot of that, and I've been recording it and posting it on social media. So definitely crossing that off. Launch visual podcast. Now, y'all, I'm not able to cross that off here right now as I speak, but y'all know, the OGs know that the visual podcast is coming July 15th. That is going to mark a year in the book of me podcasting, and I just cannot think of a greater way to commemorate that or celebrate that day. And with doing that, I am going to be crossing that off my list. July 15th. So next month is going to be crossed off. And I'm super excited because it just marks a milestone. I didn't think I'd be podcasting this long, and just to be here and feel great each and every time I pick up the microphone, whether I'm in a bad mood or a good mood. Sorry, you guys, the dogs heard something and went insane. But what was I saying? Being able to pick up the mic, regardless of the mood that I am in, but putting down the mic in a better mood than when I started the episode or podcast, that is the comfort, the level of comfort, the level of, I don't even know, the level of content in my heart that I feel each and every time that I pick up and put down my microphone for my podcast. So I love it here. And there's no better way to express how much I enjoy you all listening to me than being able to also expand my podcast into a visual podcast and not just an audio. So by the end of next month, I'll definitely be able to cross off launch visual podcast. And the next square is 750 credit score. I know I just told y'all that I had a 750, 749, 750 credit score. And when my student loans reported, it dropped me 150 points. I want to get back to that point, 750. I want to somehow achieve an 800 credit score because I've never had that. But right now, I want to get back to where I was before those student loans reported. It dropped me drastically. So hopefully before the end of the year, I continue to work hard and I am able to achieve that score again. Next was apply for a new role at work. I'm definitely going to cross that off because my pod squad knows, my OG listeners know that I did apply to a new role at work and I got it. So I'm currently in a new role. I don't know how long I'll stay. I'm thinking about, this is so bad, but I am thinking about changing careers or finding a new job that allows me to be fully remote if and when I go back to school, because not if or when I go back to school, because the job that I'm at now is 30 or so miles away. So it accounts for about 30-minute drive in the morning if I leave by 5 a.m. and then an hour drive when I get off at 3 and head back home. And they are requiring us to come back in 2 to 3 days starting in September of this year, and then 5 days fully in office, the beginning, if not sooner, if the building is done, 5 days a week. And so that is just not going to be, it's just not going to work for me. I appreciate the work life balance I get from being either fully remote or hybrid, but this in office 5 days a week when I have to constantly drive 60 to 70 miles a day, with it being 30 miles away, so that 30-minute drive in the morning, but over an hour drive back is just not going to do it for me. So I need something that's fully remote or at least one day a week. And longevity of me being in this position is that's not going to be a possibility since it's company wide. So yeah, maybe, the next couple months I'll be saying that, oh, I'm going to be applying to other jobs and trying to find a fully remote job. Who knows? Next square is no spending challenge 30 days. I still need to set my mind on that. Next square is read 5 books. I've definitely read more than 5 books this year, so I'm going to go ahead and cross that off. I do have another square about paying off a credit card. Like I said, I did run up my credit cards because of the student loans. So I do need to pay that off. And I do have three separate squares because I have three credit cards. So I definitely want to pay all three of those off before the end of the year. And the goal with my credit cards is not to pay them off and leave them paid off. Obviously, the only way to build your credit score and, all of that is the credit bureaus need to see that you can manage debt appropriately, responsibly. So obviously, once I pay my cards off, I want to keep them to a low and manageable amount. That way I can use them every month and pay them off every month. And then that way, in the case of an emergency, by doing that, it shows the credit bureaus and the credit card company, credit card holder, whatever, that you can manageably control your debt or your spending. But then at the same time, with doing so, they will increase your credit limit. So like I said, I don't want to just pay it off and be done with it. I want to pay it off and keep it to a low and manageable amount. That way I can pay it off every month, and in the case of an emergency, I can use it when I need to. So that all three of those credit card pay off one credit card squares are going to be left alone because I need to pay those back down. Next square is renovate living room. I'm definitely going to cross that one off because I have renovated my living room. I was able to buy a new blanket to kind of tie the room together, as well as a rug. So that really, like, my living room makes me feel so at home and so peaceful. That is what I am achieving when I say I want to renovate these things and buy new things for, my apartment. I'm always reaching that or trying to achieve the goal of making my apartment feel like a home, because I feel like apartments get a bad rep of, oh, they may be ran down or dirty, or you'll never feel at home. Well, I want to debunk all of that, because my apartment is going to feel like my home no matter what it looks like outside. When I step inside, I want to feel like I'm in an oasis where it's just nothing but peace and calm that overcomes me whenever I walk into my house. Okay. Save $500. Y'all, I did do that, but with me taking out the cash advances and all of that to bring my student loans current, I did also use that savings. So I need to save back up 5,000. I mean 500. Ooh, it would be nice to save up 5,000, and I'm definitely gonna get there. But in order to cross that box back off, I need to save $500. The next square, let me see, more makeup videos, y'all. I have done so many makeup videos, tutorials, product reviews, all of the things. And I'm definitely going to cross that off because my TikTok fan base are probably tired of it, but that is what I am. That is what I find joy in, is product reviews. I love makeup. I love trying out different things that work for me. Especially being that the fact that I'm going to be doing my own makeup videos. I mean, not makeup videos, but yeah, my own makeup videos. But I'm going to be doing my own makeup for my wedding, my ceremonies, my engagement photo, like anytime that my makeup needs to be done, I will be doing it. I will not be paying anybody else to do it. So finding the joy of the journey has been one of the things that have been great to me. So I love making makeup videos. I love finding things that work for me, and being able to record and put it out there in order to help the next person is something that I love to do. So I have uploaded more than enough makeup videos. So I'm definitely crossing that off. The next square is a liquid diet for a week. I was definitely able to do that as well, so I'm going to cross that off. And then the last square is save $1,000. I haven't saved 500. Well, I did save up 500, but I need to go back and save up. So that 500 is going to lead to 1K. That 1K is going to lead to 2.5. That 2.5 is going to lead to 5K. So it's all around journey. Everything is going to connect in some way, in some function, in some fashion. So finding ways to build upon your goals is also another thing I want you all to achieve or strive for. Not just setting one goal and be like, oh, okay, well, I achieved that. I'm done. Nothing else for me to conquer. Nothing else for me to, achieve in life. No, once you accomplish one goal, whether it's little, vague, or whatever the case may be, set your sights on something that either expands outside of your comfort zone, or builds upon that goal that you just accomplished, because the only thing that that's going to do for you is continue to make you a better person. We are not perfect. Nobody in this world is perfect, but the one thing that we can do every day is work towards something that improves who we are as a person. And so that is what I'm trying to do. I hope that is what you all strive to do, is be 1% better than you were yesterday. Because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. We all got things to work on. And if you're not working on anything, there's there's something that you need to look inward on, because I promise you, if you're not working towards anything, then you feel like, there's nothing for you to conquer, or you're missing your mark, if anything. Um, because some of these things I didn't know that I wanted to do, or didn't know that I was working towards, until I started looking inward. And I went several years without making a big old board or vision board or anything. And I just had to start looking at myself and be like, what do you want your life to look like? If you do not have a vision of what you want your life to look like, or who you want to be, then you are never going to work towards anything, because you don't know what you're working towards. So this is what these boards are supposed to do for us. Make us a better person than who we already are, and help us visualize what we want our lives to look like, and how we are going to work towards that. Put actions or put steps in place for us to start making things happen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you all so much, so much, so much for listening in. Like I said, original OGs, I love y'all. Returning listeners, I love y'all. If this is your first episode here, thank you so much for being here. I hope this episode helped you get a little bit of insight on what I like to talk about on this podcast, because yes, I want to help you all build confidence, but it's not only about talking about building confidence, about talking about how to build confidence, self-motivation, etc., through other things that are going on in your life. So I can't always give you the tips on how to be confident or how to remain confident, but if you can be pretty confident in most of the things that you're doing, then you are on the right path. So thank you all for tuning in to the Pretty Confident Podcast. Remember, confidence isn't about perfection. It's about embracing who you are. Until next time, stay bold, stay authentic, and stay pretty confident. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing July, and I will talk to you all next week. Peace out.